You know that feeling, right? When you're on a team and maybe one or two people are doing all the heavy lifting while someone else is doing all the complaining. It's incredibly frustrating, and it happens everywhere. It turns out there's actually an ancient fable from Aesop that nails this dynamic perfectly. So today, we're going to dive into this timeless story that reveals a really powerful truth about work, complaint, and, human nature itself. This sentence right here, this is the heart of the entire thing. It's a bit of an uncomfortable truth, but a powerful one. Those who bear the least of the burden are often the loudest in their lamentations. So let's break down the story that brings this idea to life. So where does that quote come from? Well, it's from a really simple but profound story, attributed all the way back to Aesop. Let's actually step right into the fable itself. Okay, so picture this scene. You've got this tough, muddy road. Think of it as the heavy lifting in life. Any difficult project, any big challenge. And then you have the oxen. These guys, they represent quiet, disciplined power. They are straining against all that weight, but they're doing it in complete silence. Not a single word of complaint. And then you've got the complete opposite. You've got the wheels. Now, they're just kind of along for the ride, doing way less of the actual work. But they are making an incredible amount of noise. All that creaking and groaning, it just fills the air, making the hard job the oxen are doing feel even harder. So finally, the oxen just snap. They've had enough. Their patience is totally gone, and they deliver this powerful line. It's really the climax of the story, where the silent workers finally call out all that useless noise. And they make it crystal clear. The ones complaining the loudest are the ones carrying no real burden at all. Now, obviously, this simple story isn't really about farm equipment, right? It's actually this incredibly powerful metaphor for understanding how people behave in pretty much any group in any time period. The thing is, in any group effort, you're almost always going to find these two roles. You've got the oxen, the ones who provide the real power, the quiet labor that actually moves things forward, and then you've got the wheels. They're the ones creating all the noise, the friction, and the complaints that just slow everything down. And this noise, it's not a sign of hard work, it's a sign of friction. It's all the drama and the whining that actually makes the wagon harder for the oxen to pull. It literally drains the energy from the people doing the real work. And you gotta ask why. Why do the wheels do it? A lot of times it's a way to look like you're involved without actually contributing. It's like a performance of work, maybe driven by insecurity or just a need for attention. So where do these squeaky wheels show up today? Well, once you see this pattern, I'm telling you, you will start seeing oxen and wheels absolutely everywhere. This whole dynamic plays out from our jobs all the way to our personal lives. At work, it's the programmer who stays late coding while someone else just complains about how many meetings they have. In a family, it might be one partner juggling everything while the other complains about a single minor chore. Even in a friend group, you've got the one person planning the whole trip while someone else is complaining about the choice of snacks. The pattern? It's always the same. But look, this ancient fable isn't just a useful tool for judging other people. It's also a mirror. It's meant for some pretty serious self-reflection. It asks us to take a hard look at our own role in the group. So let's take an honest moment right here. Think about your biggest project at work, or your family, or your community. In that specific situation, in that wagon, are you the one quietly pulling the weight, or are you the one making all the noise? It's a tough question for sure, but a really necessary one to ask. And if you think you might be the wheel sometimes, it's usually because of these common traps. It is so easy to fall into that first one, mistaking being vocal for being valuable, right? As if just talking about the problems is the same as actually solving them. But the real danger, I think, is that last one, completely forgetting that your noise is a real actual obstacle for the oxen around you. So, what's the big takeaway here? How do we become more like the ox? Well, it really comes down to a few key shifts in how we see things. First off, we've got to challenge our own assumptions. We tend to think that visibility equals value, that the person talking the most must be the most engaged. This fable teaches us to look for the quiet contributors. Their silence isn't a sign of apathy. It's often a sign of focus and efficiency. I mean, think about it. When you're totally locked in on a difficult task, when you're truly pulling the weight, you just don't have the time or the mental energy to complain about it. All your focus is on the work itself, not on talking about the work. At the end of the day, complaining is not a productive force. It creates friction, sure, but friction doesn't move the wagon forward. Only effort creates momentum. So the goal is simple.
Stop making noise and start pulling.
And that really brings us to our final thought. Let this be a simple mantra for you. Before you voice a complaint, just ask yourself, is my contribution greater than my complaint? Let the quiet strength of the oxen be your guide, and make sure your value is measured in the distance you travel, not in the noise you make along the way.